You know, I see babies and I just have an existential crisis about not being a child.
Alexasunshine 83, it's always sunny here.
Hey Sunshiners, Alexasunshine 83 right here. Hello, hello, happy sunny day. What is up? Today's video, we are doing a good old-fashioned Q&A, a little chit-chat, a little catch-up. I originally asked for questions over on my Instagram, which is alexasunshine83 at the beginning of December. And then I did again at the beginning of January. And now we are at the beginning of February. So it's been, you know, a tough couple of months, you know, having COVID. And then honestly, I just felt like there was so much like pressure on my shoulders that I felt like I couldn't open up, and I'm feeling so much better. And I figured I would give just like more context as to like where my mind's at. So yeah, I have the questions on my phone and we're just gonna dive on deep into me. Okay, I feel like the first thing I have to answer is about my second cat, Salem. I got so many messages about him because all of a sudden he just like popped up. But we adopted a black cat named Salem, I think right before Christmas. So it was before that we were exposed to, you know, COVID and all that jazz. Let me just grab him because he's walking around, just so you can see who he actually is. So this is Salem. He is a black cat. He is a long hair. He's about a year old. He's quite big, like compared to Autumn. It's actually quite hilarious how tiny she is. He loves food. Like, I've never seen a cat be so excited for food. Although it's probably because when we first got him, he had a tapeworm. So, you know, I can understand where now he can actually enjoy the food. But anyway, we ended up adopting him at the same place that we adopted Autumn. I always wanted a second cat, but I didn't think we would end up getting one, honestly, until next year. Well, I guess like later 2021. And I hadn't gone on like Pet Finder or anything for a really long time, but I happened to look. He was the first one that popped up. I just like knew he was the one. And so John and I went down there and like instantly fell in love. He just like jumped on our lap and started purring and like kneading on us. He is so affectionate. He loves snuggles. We ended up adopting him, and he actually had a cold when we first got him. After a couple of days of having him, we noticed that his cold was like getting worse. We took him to a vet. We didn't go to like the normal vet I usually go to, and the vet was like, oh, I think he has cat herpes. We got him tested for it and everything, and he does have it, which honestly didn't even know that was a thing. Apparently it's extremely common. I think it's like 90% of cats have it, and it's really easy to pass along. So he probably got it from the shelter. She probably has it, but maybe it doesn't show symptoms. We did like more research on our own because the vet like didn't really give us any information. It was just like, yeah, he has this. He may have a lot of health problems down the line. And it was only like a couple days into us having him. I ended up bringing him to our actual normal vet. He was super like, you know, this is just a thing that he has. Here are the things to keep in mind, you know, for his life. Autumn probably already has it because we didn't know, you know, he had that. We thought he just had a cold. So they kind of like had already been mingling before we took him to the original vet. So that was a whole thing, and I wanted to make sure that like we were good before I announced that we got a second cat. So that's why I didn't really say anything. He's doing amazing. I just wanted to mention here, not that I'm an expert on like cat herpes or anything, you can do your own research, but it usually only flares up when they are in a lot of stress. So obviously him being in the shelter was a lot of stress, so it was really flared up. But now that he's been with us for a little bit over a month, he is doing completely 100%, but that's something throughout his life we'll have to make sure that he's not super stressed. He has a very interesting meow though. Like it has like a gurgle, and so I'm assuming it's like the cat herpes because it's a respiratory thing, or that's just how he is. It's so interesting how like two cats, Autumn and Salem, can be so different the way that their personalities are, but we absolutely love them. She loves licking him. She does not like when he licks her, but they're best friends. They snuggle in the bed with us at night. And the reason why I named him Salem is like the obvious reason, because of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like I just saw him and I was like, he's a Salem, which I think it's funny because we have like Autumn and Salem, which are very like fall Halloween names. And I don't really love Halloween, so I think it's just kind of ironic. I like fall time, so, you know. I got some questions on like body confidence and like struggles with like body image and stuff, and I don't think I'm like 100% when it comes to like body confidence, but I'm definitely at like a way better place than what I used to, especially in like middle school and high school, and honestly even the beginning of my 20s. And I feel like the biggest thing that has shaped, I guess, like my view when it comes to my body is working out. I'm more like focused on, you know, how many like lunges I I can do or squats, or like how long I can go for, if I can do like longer workouts and that type of thing, and focusing on like my actual like body and building strength that way versus being a certain size. Because like, what does that actually really mean? Although I did the Chloe Teen 2-week shred challenge at the beginning of October, which completely changed like my fitness, I guess, mindset. I feel like I'm actually doing workouts that I love and that are making a difference. And I kind of got out of this like workout slump where I was just kind of working out because like, I guess I'm supposed to. And now I've been consistently doing Chloe Teen workouts with also doing other types of workouts. John and I have been doing these like workouts from Apple. It's like Apple Fitness together, which has been actually really fun and made me realize, oh, working out should be fun. But when I first started the Chloe Teen 2-week shred challenge, after the first week, which, trigger warning if you've ever had like an eating disorder or any type of like body dysmorphia, that type of stuff, then you can fast forward to this time. I think this goes for a lot of, I guess, videos on like fitness and like what I eat in a day videos, where it's very much focused on what your body looks like. And so I weighed myself and I was like, if I really want to make a difference with these Chloe Teen workouts, I need to like cut back, you know, eating this, and I need to like eat less so then I can get like, you know, super skinny like her. And I don't know if it's just because of the photos for the videos that kind of like triggered me, which is nothing against like Chloe Teen. I mean, that's what's gonna get the views, and I don't think it's necessarily like damaging. Although if you have kind of like an eating disorder past, then it can be triggering. And luckily it was only for like 20 seconds that I had those thoughts. I like snapped myself out of it and I was like, wait, no, you're not doing this to be a certain size or look a certain way. You're doing this because it makes you feel good and it makes your body feel good. And so luckily it was little lapse, and that was at the beginning of October, and now it's February, and I just feel like I'm not as connected to wanting my body to look a certain way, and I'm more focused on like more important things, like how my body actually feels, especially after having COVID. I thought in my head, okay, you know, this is probably very morbid, but like if I did die, like nobody's gonna care that for the past, you know, couple of months I've been doing Chloe Teen workouts and like I'm all fit and stuff. Like nobody's gonna care. And like, why does it even matter if I'm focused on wanting my body to like look a certain way, when I have rather been focusing on like how it makes me feel and how it's actually like helping my like health, and just shifting the perception that like your body should look a certain way, and more of like, this is what my body can do. And I'm thankful, you know, for kind of that side of social media where there's so much more representation. I mean, not always, but like, you know, there's a lot of people of different sizes, different races, different disabilities, to show that there isn't just like one size fits all. There's so many different kinds, and no matter what, you're beautiful. I don't know if I'm actually answering this question very well, but I just kind of wanted to like share what my thoughts are on it, and how like, yes, I do still have like body struggles, but honestly, I feel like working out and like feeling alive and like seeing what your body can do kind of just shifts it. Lots of questions on having COVID and like what it was like, and like what were some things that I didn't, you know, think would happen. And also just like with my phobia, which if you guys don't know, I have a phobia, fear of throwing up. And I kind of talked about my COVID experience and my like blowing up for 2021, but just to give like a summary if you didn't know, I had COVID at the end of December. I feel like I've blocked out a lot of the things, but it was like, it was horrible. Like there's not really too much to say about it. My emetophobia was only bad in the beginning because my mom told me that some people can get it in their like stomach, like almost like a stomach flu, which originally I just heard of it as being like a really intense flu, like sniffles, like, you know, just that type of stuff, not really the throwing up. And so when she told me that, I just like completely went into a panic. Basically for the entire time, I was just really scared I was gonna throw up. And so luckily that didn't happen, and luckily we are doing so much better. The thing I wasn't expecting was the actual test. John takes a COVID test, or did take a COVID test. Right now he's not, because it like will still show up that he has it every single week for work, and I hadn't taken one until kind of this happened, and that was so horrible. I see all these influencers that are like, oh, we got tested, like we're all good. They're getting tested like every day just so they can hang out with their friends or like go to a party, and like it was such a horrible experience that I'm still dreading the fact that I have to do it again. Of course, get tested if you think that you have it, or if you've been around somebody, or, you know, just get tested to make sure that you're okay. I was more talking about how like people are getting tested literally like every day just so they can do something that's unsafe to like justify it. Yeah, not looking forward to getting retested. Okay, so I got a lot of questions about when John and I are gonna be having kids, which at first I was like, oh, like, why are you asking me? And then I realized, like, obviously we're married, and so I understand, like, that's usually the next step. I mean, you don't have to be married to have kids, but I know when you like know two people are married, it's most likely at some point maybe they'll have kids if they want kids. You know, definitely not anytime soon. I feel like this pandemic has pushed everything back. We basically lost probably 2 years. My original plan of potentially when I would want kids, like, we need to push that back because I just lost 2 years. You know, I feel like we're both kind of like not like heart set on having kids. I've never been that person. My entire life I never wanted kids. Like, it was never even just a thought because, you know, I see babies and I just have an existential crisis about not being a child. And, you know, that's some stuff I need to work through first about, you know, being okay that I'm a grown up and not a child. But I definitely like am getting more warm to the thought of like, oh, I could technically share my wisdom of everything I've learned in my life to this other thing. And so like that's kind of cool. But then also like not only is just 9 months of pregnancy sound absolutely horrendous, but then like the labor, definitely my emetophobia plays a really big part in it. You know, need to go to therapy for not just that, a lot of other stuff, but I think that's definitely a really big part. And also my mom had 3 kids, including me, and she didn't have any of them like with natural labor. Every single one was a C-section. So I'm like, would I have to have a C-section? Because a lot of times you look at, you know, what your mom's pregnancy was like to see what yours was like. And my mom had horrible pregnancies. So it's just like, you know, there's a lot of stuff against me. I think we're definitely like open to it, but also having cats has really like shown us the responsibility that we will need to have, and definitely not anytime soon. Goals with YouTube and beyond. And I'm not gonna lie, when I like got some questions about that, or like what my goals are in life, am I gonna be doing YouTube forever? What do I want to do? And like that type of thing, it just like kind of like put me into like an existential crisis about like, what am I doing with my life? Especially after 2020 and even into 2021, like there have just been a lot of like mindset shifts, and it's tough because I truly don't know like what I want career-wise. And I think especially being in the sustainable-ish, you know, fashion space, it's kind of hard of, do I want to create something? Do I want to create clothing? That's like such a journey, and I don't even know if I even necessarily want to do that, but I like the idea of like, you know, potentially doing merch. And so I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? And if I'm continuing to do YouTube, what do I want to do on my channel? I don't really have an answer. I think my biggest goal would be being able to go to different cities, different states, and different countries and making thrift with me's. Honestly, that's what I wanted to do in 2020 because I love thrifting. I really love going to the thrift store and making thrift with me's, but I think it's obviously more exciting being able to like go to different places. And I really enjoyed when I went to the UK and went thrifting because it was totally different. And I wish I would have done it a little bit different, where I talked about like what thrifting actually is like. And I think you can see more kind of the culture of a place, but also just like the stories behind everything. And so that's like my biggest goal of something I really want to be able to do in 2022. It definitely like scares me because I'm like, should I know what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life? Because I have no idea. I don't know how long YouTube is going to be a thing, and I feel like a lot of people really bring home that YouTube shouldn't be just like your only plan, but it's the only thing I really like, so I don't really have another option. I think the second one, I don't know, is really like a career goal, but I think it's more of like a self-care goal of just having better habits to make me happy and like have hobbies, because my hobby was thrifting. You know, now it's my job and now I can't really do it. And so what are the other things that I enjoy doing that I don't feel like I need to do because it's part of my job? And so hand knitting, about some more yarn, which I'm really excited about, to make another cardigan. And at first I was like, oh, I should film it. And I was like, honestly, like I really enjoy this. I kind of want to just like do it for myself. I think we live in a society where if you enjoy something, like you have to try to capitalize on it and like make money from it to make it seem successful, but you can just do stuff just for the fun of it. Those are, I guess, kind of my career goals, life goals. I wanted to put a fun question in this video because I feel like a lot of these topics have been kind of like heavy, but I felt like I needed to catch you up on some of the stuff. But what is my favorite word? And I feel like I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this because I've thought about it a lot. My two favorite words are aesthetic. I know it's super cringy, but there's something about the look of the word aesthetic and the way that it's said aesthetic that's just so beautiful to me. My second favorite word, which I think actually is my number one favorite word, is eucalyptus. Just saying the word brings me so much joy. Eucalyptus mint is my absolute favorite smell, and I'm so gutted that I can't like burn candles that are eucalyptus mint because it's really bad for cats. I love my cats, so I will put them number one over my like smelling taste. I literally have thought about just having the word eucalyptus like tattooed on my body because it's so beautiful. I feel like it's a very random thing, but it's the most beautiful word in the entire world. In case you wanted to know that, now you know. You're welcome. Biggest surprise about getting married, or like what surprised me about getting married. And if you guys didn't know, last June, John and I got married. Only thing that surprised me is now I cry at everything. Not that I like didn't show emotion, I just didn't really cry. Like growing up and crying in my family, it was very much looked down upon, so I'm sure that definitely played a part in it, but I grew up literally just not really crying at anything. I would go to a movie, everyone would be crying in the theater and I'd be laughing. So now I cry at everything lovey-dovey. Literally because of John, I just like melt. This last question, I probably shouldn't have put last because I feel like it's kind of a heavy one, but that was questions about how I was doing, how was my mental health. Definitely been very open that I haven't been doing great. I mean, I feel like nobody really has. I mean, every single person has been touched by kind of this pandemic in 2020 and even 2021. And so, you know, obviously that's a really big thing. And it's just been such a roller coaster of emotions. I haven't been doing well, like just gonna be completely honest. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I'm feeling is very validated with what's going on, but also not letting that kind of continue to like eat away at myself. And so I'm trying to do things that make me happy. Like I said, doing different hobbies, just helping me like have other things other than YouTube, because as amazing as it is, it's starting to turn into kind of like a negative thing for me when it comes to especially like comparing myself. I've started comparing myself to people that don't even make videos like me. They aren't even my age. They're at a completely different like point in their life to me, and I'm comparing myself. But I think, you know, having John obviously there to talk through my feelings, you know, what he's going through, what I'm going through, because again, like it's totally validated for us to not be doing great, but you have to find just like a groove emotion to cope through this time and figure out a way to kind of keep going with also feeling the feelings that you are feeling. Started becoming very nostalgic for times in my life that weren't great, where I'm like, oh, I wish I could go back. And then I'm like, wait, that was a terrible time. Like high school, absolutely horrendous, would never go back. But sometimes I still like feel nostalgic about like, oh, I wish I could go back. But I'm like, you literally ate lunch in the bathroom by yourself. Like, why would you want to go back to that? So trying to like focus on like now, what can I do to help myself? We're all just doing our best. That's the theme of 2020 and 2021. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of just me like talking. Sometimes I'm like, nobody wants to hear what I'm saying unless I'm like holding a piece of clothing, but I know like you're more than that. Like we're friends, and when you're friends, you talk about what's going on in your life. Let me know in the comments down below how you are doing, coping with things. Do you have a cat? I don't know. I just want to know random stuff. But if you guys would like to continue to see my face, then make sure to subscribe right down below and hit the little bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, alexasunshine83, to keep up to date with me during the week. I hope you guys have a super sunny day. Enjoy life, be happy, and I'll love you lots. Bye!